Now I'm going to start up with the third video of chapter 2nd. In the second video I explained you about the relative density bottle. Now I'm going to take the activity to show you how to find the relative density of liquids using the relative density bottle. Now in this activity, first you are going to take the empty relative density bottle and we are going to find its mass with the help of physical balance. And note down the mass of the empty bottle as m1. Now we are going to fill this bottle with distilled water and we are going to insert the stopper. As I told you, this is the stopper. Insert the stopper and extra water will drain out through the capillary. We are going to then measure the mass of the bottle with plus the distilled water with the help of physical balance and mark it as M2. Now empty the bottle, dry it again. Now fill it again with liquid whose relative density you have to find. And again insert the stopper. So now the mass of the bottle filled with liquid, we'll take it as M3. So what was M1? The mass of the empty bottle. What is M2? Mass of the bottle plus distilled water. What is M3? The mass of the bottle plus the liquid whose relative density we have to find as M3. Now from here you can see that we can find the mass of the distilled water by subtracting M1 from M2. Because if we'll take M2 minus M1, the mass of the empty bottle will be subtracted and we are going to get the mass of the distilled water. In order to find the mass of the liquid, we are going to subtract the mass of the empty bottle, that is M1, from M3. As I told you that the relative density of the liquid of any substance can be calculated by finding the mass of the substance upon the mass of the water. The volume, in that case the volume has to be same. As we are using this empty bottle, which is the RD bottle, so volume, we are taking the volume of the liquid as well as the water, that of the RD bottle. So the volume of both the liquid and water are same, because every time we are filling it in the RD bottle. So the relative density of the liquid will be mass of the liquid upon mass of water, formula, volume being same. And we are going to substitute the value of M3 minus M1 upon M2 minus M1. So this formula is going to give you the relative density of the liquid. Now in order to find the density of the liquid, we are going to multiply with 1 gram per centimeter cube, which is the density of water in CGS system. And we are going to multiply it with 1000 kg per meter cube if we want it in the SI system. Depending mass is calculated in which unit. Now as I told you that relative density is the density of the substance upon the density of water. So you can calculate the density with the help of this formula also. Relative density into 1. As I told you, it is the density of water in CGS. That is going to give you the density of a substance in CGS. And in order to convert relative density into density, multiply it by 1000. You are going to get the density of the substance in SI unit. This formula you have to remember, and while I'll be taking the numericals, we'll be using these formulae. Now we are going to study about hydrometer. Now this is the figure of the hydrometer. So this is a long cylindrical, you can see it is a long rod, glass rod. It is made up of glass rod. So what is the purpose of the hydrometer? It is an instrument. Hydrometer is an instrument which is used to measure the relative density of liquids directly. This hydrometer is going to give you the relative density of the liquids directly. And what is a hydrometer? It is made up of glass and consists of a cylindrical stem and a bulb weighted with mercury. As you can see here, this is called the bulb. And it is weighted with mercury, means it is filled with mercury or lead shots, so that it may float upright, because we have to make its bulb heavy so that it may float upright. As you see in this figure, there are few lead shots in it. Now see the graduations of this hydrometer. You see that it is decreasing upwards, because if this hydrometer is going to sink more into this liquid, this is a liquid whose relative density we have to measure. So that is why it is vessel with liquid. If it is going to sink more, the relative density will decrease. So more the sinking of the hydrometer, lesser the value of the relative density. So now we are going to just take a vessel, fill it with the liquid whose relative density you want to calculate, and put this hydrometer inside it, and it note down its reading when it is going to float upright. At the point where it is going to float, it will sink, but a point will come when it will float at one position. That reading, as in this case it is 0.9, that reading gives you the relative density of the liquid. Now this is what is called a hydrometer. Now there are special names for the hydrometers. So hydrometer for different type of liquids. A hydrometer which is used to test the purity of milk, we call it as lactometer. Lacto means milk. So the hydrometer which is used to test the purity of milk is called lactometer. And the hydrometer which is used to test whether the battery, as you all must be having the battery at homes with your inverter, to see whether the battery is fully charged or not. In that case also the hydrometer is used, because in the batteries the liquid which is inserted is acid. So that hydrometer is called as acid battery hydrometer, which is used to test whether the battery is fully charged or not. So now the purpose of the hydrometer is to check the relative density of the different liquids directly by inserting into it. Now you know some substances sink in water or sink in liquid, or some substances float in water or liquids. So when will a substance float in a liquid? If the density of the solid is less than the density of the liquid, the object will float. And if the density of the solid which is inserted in the liquid is more than the density of the liquid, the object will sink in the liquid. So these 2 points you have to remember. If the density of the solid is less than the density of the liquid in which it is put, the object will float. And if the density of solid is more than the density of the liquid in which it is put, the object will sink in the liquid. So this is the flotation, how objects floats and sink. Now we are going to take some applications of the flotation which will come in the exam as reasons. So you know, the relative density of the candle wax is given as 0.93. So objects which is made of wax will float on water, because if the relative density of candle wax is 0.93, it means its density is 0.93 gram per centimeter cube, and that of water is 1 gram per centimeter cube. And you know 0.93 is lesser than 1. So it means the density of wax is lesser than the density of water. So it will float on water. You know, this seawater contains the lots of salts dissolved in it, and due to the presence of the salts, the density of seawater becomes greater than that of the river water. So that is why we say that seawater is denser than river water. Therefore, we find it easy to swim in seawater, because we can float easily if the density is greater of the liquid. So it is easier to swim in seawater than in river water, because the density of seawater is greater than the density of river water. Density of ice is also less than that of water. So that is why whenever we put a piece of ice in our drinks, soft drinks, or in your cold drinks, you find that the ice floats on water. Why? Because the density of ice is less than that of water. This is the also reason why icebergs also float on seawater, because its density is lesser than that of the seawater. Now, you know that there are many cargoes, ship cargoes also, which carry the cargoes. They are loaded with cargoes. The ships which are loaded with cargoes submerges more in river water. Submerges means its sinking is more in river water than in sea water. Again, because the density of river water is lesser than the density of sea water. So in this way, it is not our choice to keep on loading the ship as much as we want. So in order to see how much cargo a ship can load, there are special markings on the inside the hull of a ship, and these markings we called it as the plimsoll lines. So what are the plimsoll lines? They are the level in the ship up to which they can be submerged safely in a particular sea or river. So it indicates that as soon as the red line of the plimsoll lines come, the cargo is not further loaded. The ship is not further loaded with cargoes. Or that is why if a ship is loaded beyond its plimsoll line, if it crosses the plimsoll line and we keep on loading the ship, then it has the risk of sinking. So we should not the ships are not loaded beyond the plimsoll lines. So this is regarding the ship. Now there is one more reason which you may get. Why does the hydrogen filled balloons, if you are filled with hydrogen gas, nowadays the helium gas is filled, hydrogen filled balloon rises up in the air? Because if you are going to fill these gases, hydrogen or helium, they rise up in the air. Why? Because the density of hydrogen is lesser than the density of the air, which is a mixture of different type of gases. As the density of hydrogen is lesser, so it is going to float in the air. So these are the few reasons which are based upon the density of the substances. Now I am going to take up in the next video how does the density varies with the different factors we have got. I am going to send an assignment also based on these 3 videos. Do them in your copy also.